Dungeons and Dragons ride!
Welcome back to the Tidea Hanger, and welcome to day 2 of the LJN Advanced Dungeons and Dragons week. Today we're going to talk about the Fortress of Fangs, and this is continuing the celebration of the fact that they're releasing modern iterations of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and NECA is stepping up with some advanced Dungeons and Dragons 7-inch scale versions of this toy line. But this playset is a lot of fun. It is a really cool playset. It's a little overrated. People act like it's the best playset ever, but I'm going to show you why in this video coming up. First of all, many people have pointed out how this playset looks just like the cartoon entry into the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons ride. Maybe just Dungeons and Dragons ride, but it looks very similar in respect. If you think there's some sort of a correlation there, well, there probably is. Alright, so we're going to start looking at this from every single angle and take a look at this playset, which is pretty cool. I kind of store some of my extra Ogre Kings in there, but the first feature I want to show on this playset is this ladder, and the ladder comes out and then it can come down, something like that. And so one of the standards that a lot of people want to say whether the playset's a good playset or not is, can you get from the lower level to the top level? And the ladder does the job, and it stows away. So that's something that, you know, took me a while to really understand how all that worked. I actually think I have mine in backwards, but I don't really care. Then next thing up, we do have these giant fangs right here. We have this smaller little piece of tooth, and that's kind of interesting. We're going to get into the inside of it pretty soon, but from the front, we can look up here and we can see a few things. We see two different sets of eyes, and you can store figures there or display them, which is kind of cool. So this does work as a display piece when it's not being used as an actual play set, which is kind of cool. Something that's sort of foresight by LJN, and LJN gets a lot of negative press for a lot of their toy lines, but for this one, it is actually pretty interesting how it works. I do like to put the bad guys in here. In my mind, I'm thinking bad guys go with this play set, the Fortress of Fangs, and the good guys sort of want to invade it. But it's pretty cool, and you can fit figures very easily up here, probably more than I even have here. When I have it stored, I actually store quite a few figures on it. So at the front of this playset, there's a couple things to look at, and I do have the ogres that I store in here and display, which I think is kind of fun as sort of a defense mechanism. And I look at these as standard ogres, and the shield shooter is the Ogre King, but that's just me. So you do have this lava area here, which is kind of covered up. Let me get these out of here. This is sort of a lava river, and you see a skeleton in there, and it almost wants, there's a ghost in there. So the thing about this is that there are 3 stones that you can walk along the lava river and not kill yourself or hurt yourself. They're all different. Now, in the beginning, I didn't realize they were all different, so I do actually have some extra stones, which is fun because you can put stones here and here and all around, and it makes for a little bit more fun to have more stones. It doesn't make sense they didn't put extra stuff in it, because that might have cost them like a fraction of a cent back in the day. Now they cost like 30 to 50 bucks each. Next up, we have this cage, and so this cage here is kind of strange. Like, in my opinion, I kind of think this cage should have had a back to it or something, but I guess the stalagmites, tights, bottom, top, whatever, those kind of hold it in place. So we could put, and I kind of left an elkhorn out here. He's probably going to be the victim for everything. I put all my better ones away, so this guy's just extra. But let's put him in the cage. Here's Elkhorn in the gel, and it looks pretty good overall as Elkhorn in the gel, but is it convincing, unconvincing? I don't know. But he's going to be subject to a lot of problems on this playset. So let's say Elkhorn escaped from the gel cell, and then he went over all of these, I don't know, stepping stones of lava, and somehow opened up this here. So this is, these two little pieces of stalagmites, tights, whatever, are smaller and shorter than the other ones that are in there. So you can see this short one, tall one, short ones go here, that folds down, and then you can go into, and I'm starting to lose some light here, but you can go into seeing the treasure. So a little bit more light being shown on it, so you can see back in here there's a treasure chest and the treasure chest. So it is actually three pieces. There's a yellow treasure piece, then there's the exterior front, and then there's the lid that clips on. It is static. It does not open and close, and it's in there. And then we can kind of see, sort of from this angle, some of the artwork that's in there. You see maybe a skeleton down there and some stuff on the back. Those stickers that were included, if they put them on right, it would work out okay. So Elkhorn's going through here, and then he got the treasure. But the whole point is all these bad guys keep it from happening. So we're going to turn this playset to the side. I think I'm leaving my double exterior lights on, so it might be too bright. But going up to the top, this is something that a lot of people praise, is that it has steps and stairs, which does two things. First of all, you could A, have a way to the top, but B, display multiple figures if you wanted to, because the stair step system is in place. This is just a real quick example of what could happen if you want to display your figures right here. That's actually very interesting to adult collectors that want to display a lot of figures, like 30, 40, 50 figures surrounding this, inside of this, on top of this. It could actually work. Next up, we're going to get into this side piece here, which is a wall that moves. We're going to see that later, but this is the mechanism that moves the wall. But there's really nothing stopping you from having yet maybe another ogre, which can stand here and be seen. You could display an ogre behind the wall, and he can be seen in a display, which kind of works. Or you could put maybe another ogre up there at the same time. And so display wise, this gives you lots and lots of options. So we're moving to the back, so I'm going to kind of push this thing forward, and seeing that you can get access from the back to just steal the treasure sounds kind of like silly, but I guess you might have it backed up to a wall or something along those lines, and you might do something different with it. I don't know. But the concept is you're attacking from the front, never from the back. So moving up to the top of the back, we have this Gargoyle guy, which I'm going to remove. He does have kind of just a rounded area and 3 peg tabs that he can just kind of clip into. Doesn't really clip into, it just keeps him from wobbling too much. But we're going to look at him here in a little bit. Now we have these gates, which are guarded by the skulls, which are hard to find. So this gate clips in here, and then down below also. Now, I see these either one of two ways. I see them all the way they exist, and they're bent, or they're broken, and skulls are lower. So there are 2 different ways to look at this thing, but let's say that we have Elkhorn finally made it to the top, and he wants to go up here, but the axe got him. So a dropping axe is one of these, and every single feature in here has to be aligned when you put it together and screw it together. So putting this in, let's say you're missing this, you want to put one in, you have to unscrew the top and slide it in and then screw it back. It was really a pain. I did do that, but it was a pain. It was really a pain in the butt. But so now Elkhorn wants to go through these gates, but we're going to go through the gates later. He's about to get trumped with a a trapdoor Trapdoors are so 80s, and they get the job done. Then we're going to move over here, but he's going to see some stuff on the other end. We're going to look at this later, the rest of that mechanism. And let's look at the side. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is go into shaky cam. So this is kind of like a slide, and Elkhorn's going to slide down there. And since he's an extra that I don't have parts to, I don't really care. But, okay, so we can remove these pieces here. Come on, remove that. And we can get the figure out. So, it's cool that these are removable, but it makes them, if it's removable, it makes them losable. And so, sometimes it's kind of hard to get your hands on these little pieces here. The stalagmites, stalactites. And so, from the side, we see the slide. There is the bottom of the slide right here. And it's usually intact. Then we have, go down here, we can see the stalagmite from the top. I think I'm missing one, but I'm not really missing any, actually. I just don't have it installed. I don't want to unscrew the whole top and just the whole thing fall apart, but I got plenty. I'm just missing one. But anyhow, you can see the side of the treasure chest in there, and you can see the side of the gel cell, some more detail that's in here and kind of moves up. So it's kind of cool. Maybe even you could, in this corner here, go to the back, you could have a figure lurking around the corner or something like that. So lots of possibilities. The next thing I want to talk about is the weapons rack. And the weapons rack itself it's got pluses and minuses. Cool they included it. It's bad that the little holes in here will not fit anything. The staff, Ringle Run staff, nothing goes in the holes. But the fact that you can put shields in there and you can set it up like this. So this is how you could set up a weapons rack. So if you happen to have extra weapons that aren't on your figures, or you want to take them off and just store them, you could do this. But what's this button do? Let's see that in action. Before I get into launching Elkhorn to his demise, I want to point out the fact that this area, if you put a figure here to display, he's going to inevitably launch something off of here. So you have 2 or 3 figures here, it's going to interrupt. This will interrupt this. So I did that a couple of times, and I didn't learn my lesson. I did it a couple more times. It was like, I don't know. It was like the Three Stooges trying to make a display, and it felt like this. Yeah, kind of crazy. Getting into the home run stretch of the playset. Now, Elkhorn's been on quite a bit of a journey here, trying to go through this playset. By the way, he fits through all the obstacles better than like Strongheart or any of the other ones. This is a faux wall that can be removed. It's going to have some stress marks and stuff. I don't know. Maybe mine's the only one that has that. I don't know. But pretty cool overall. It's hollow on the other side, but it's removable. So you remove that, or could Elkhorn actually go through it? I don't know. Actually, he could fit through it, sort of, but we're going to remove it anyway. Then we have the next obstacle, which is this. So this next obstacle here is him trying to fit through here. And then he gets taken out by the spike wall. The spike wall is pretty cool. Now, I want to point out the spike wall is red, but let's get a bit of an angle. If you look at this spike wall, it's green on one side. Can you see that? Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Now, there are, I think the UK variation, they didn't paint the side red. It's only green. So if you get one from the UK, I believe, then it's just green. So it wasn't painted. And somewhat makes sense. I mean, the spike wall might just be a representation of blood of all the victims it's killed, but we won't talk about that. Next up, we need to talk about the gate. Now, this gate is really cool. When I bought this thing, it did not have the gate, and it was expensive to acquire, like $100 to get the gate with the 2 helmets, the 2 skulls. Now, a lot of people, all right, he's dying there. A lot of people trying to sell the skulls for like $60 a piece, which is crazy. And I knew that was crazy. I knew if I waited a few months, I'd get one for $100 for the set, which is, I think, reasonable. But you can open these up, and you have the gates opening. Now, I want to show with this, it's kind of like a star pattern. And if you plug, I don't know if my camera's going to pick that up. If you plug the skull in, then it's going to hold it in place. And then you can open and close it. So you can have them forward when they're closed, and then sideways when they're opened. And they work as levers because they have a star pattern to them. So there's this evil winged beast that looks kind of like a gargoyle. And I've got to say, I even looked at this instructions before I made this video. They call it something. It's like an evil winged beast. He has, this is supposed to be his throne he's sitting on down here. And one thing that's funny is that it does look like the same size and similar type of skull as the really hard to find skull pieces that go to this. You have to screw this together. It comes in 3 pieces. This screws to this purple piece, and then the back comes off. And there's some tabs to tab it in. So this is one of those weird kind of things that there's not much you can do with it, but if you don't have it, it's not complete. And it does look kind of cool. The prototype pictures, I don't have it, show this with a different color. He's black here, and then I think orange wings. Kind of crazy. I kind of have a fixation on the prototype pictures. They're kind of interesting, kind of cool. This dude's big, and for size comparison, next to a kind of beat up ogre and Young Male Titan are the tallest figures in this line, and this thing dwarfs those. So pretty cool, pretty awesome, but no articulation at all. It's a statue. It's a sculpture. It's pretty cool. All right, so we conclude day 2 of LJ in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm super excited for Hasbro's animation accurate figures coming out, even though they're probably not the best quality. They're not perfect. There's issues, but they're the best thing that's ever been made. And I'm looking forward to NECA that matches these, but adds so much detail, so much excitement going on in the Dungeons and Dragons realm. I'm curious about you. What do you think about this? Did you have this playset? Are you looking to buy this playset? Is this a playset that you think you might pass? My negative, why I said it was overrated, is because I feel it's just too small. It's too small for the massive size of the toy line. It does not stand up size-wise. It stands up feature-wise, not size-wise. But at the end of the day, you save on shipping. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Look forward to day 3 where we'll review everything else. The miniatures, the PVCs, the monsters, and the mighty Tiamat. Coming up.
I am Strongheart. I am honored to meet you. For many years, I have been scraping at this stone wall. And today, I have broken through. We must turn back!
It'll be long before Venger finds us, and without our weapons...
Once, I had a magic weapon much like yours. A golden hammer. Venger took it from me and placed it in a cell in his castle dungeon. Run, my friends, run! Venger's prison of agony is finished.
Yes, but soon he will destroy my beautiful homeland.
Not if you keep this, Kerox.